Hi, little ones. I'm Mommy Black from the Little Baby Boo Nursery, and I just did a video on this scammer group called ABDL Community for All. They're terrible. Please watch that if you haven't seen it. And today we're going to be talking about the top 10 warning signs that the mommy or caregiver you're talking to is a scammer. Number 10, if their name is followed by a bunch of random numbers afterwards, like Mommy Anita 32964, Jade Houston 55, stuff like that. That is not a good sign. Typically people, when they make their accounts, they usually don't have a 300 million numbers. They can, but typically they don't. That's just one sign. Normally, if you are a professional caregiver, you're gonna basically create a brand of who you are, and that's gonna stay consistent throughout. 9, if their social media accounts or any of their accounts were made recently in the past month or two, that's another red flag. I mean, it's going to happen where new caregivers and mommies are going to come into the community. That's a-okay. But typically they're going to get to know people. They're going to actually participate in conversations. They're going to know the community. They're going to let their personality show a little bit. Especially with caregivers, we want to get to know people. We're not just going to come and be like, I'm a mommy, come on, let me go and take care of you. You know, that's not going to happen. So that's another, these are all like little tiny red flags that if all of these are coming up or some of them are coming up, just be aware, okay? 8, on their social media accounts or images that they have on their website, whatever, if all their photos are of random nurseries, it's not just one nursery. It's like, oh, look at, these are our nursery photos, but they're like obviously very different nurseries, you know, or you recognize one as like, you know, our nursery or like some of the nurseries that the other popular caregivers have. You start noticing which nurseries belong to which people. But also, I mean, grifters can pull images up from really anywhere. So really the key point is if it's not a consistent nursery, if they're not saying like, this is our nursery and like different photos of like that one nursery, that's kind of another red flag. Similarly, number 7 is going to be photos, their photos of who they are. If they're posting a bunch of different photos of different people on their social media or on their website where it's not consistent, or it's of people who are more popular in the community, popular caregivers, this is a big red flag. If you see images of us, our Bitmojis or something on other people's websites or on other people's social media, this is a red flag. We only post stuff to our littlebabyboonursery.com. We are not affiliated with any other group, although we will sometimes work in conjunction with another group. But if that's the case, we're going to say that on our website too and in our social media, right? So if you go to someone's website, like say, for instance, how this ABDL Community for All organization, scammer organization, what they did, if you look at their social media, you can see that they're including different people. And some of these pictures are like of group people that are obviously taken from stock footage. It looks like a bunch of just like random like medical people or something, just like, you know, it's obviously you don't see the same person, the same people across the social media, right? This is a big red flag. Big red flag. And it's important that you take these seriously. As much as I joke around, it's important that you take these seriously because if you're being vulnerable with somebody, there are things that you're going to tell them that you're not thinking about because you want to connect with them, that they can easily take advantage of you, right? 6, if it seems too good to be true. Now, you've heard this before from so many people. If you're looking and you're engaging with an organization that has mommies or caregivers that look like fashion models and you just see images of them and no video of them saying, oh, I'm from yada, 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 this ABDL Community for All, you know, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you don't have any of that information, it is too good to be true. You want to believe because there's this really beautiful woman who you're thinking, oh my God, could this actually be true? She's like, wants to be my mommy and yada, yada, yada. And I'm not saying that the people that are mommies or caregivers are like hideous. I'm not saying that at all, but there's just a difference. I mean, you can kind of know in the back of your mind, there's like this little red flag of like, something's not quite adding up. Go with that instinct. 5, relatedly, if you don't see any videos providing proof that this caregiver is who they say they are and they are connected. Mina mentioned this a little bit earlier. If you don't have any of that, this is a big red flag. So what this ABDL community for all did is they had videos of caregivers like Mommy Cat, who posts videos of herself, and they would use that, right? They had other videos of different people who were just kind of like cutesy and stuff like that. But nowhere did any of these videos say, hi, I'm from ABDL community for all, and we're so excited for you to be here. This is very, very different from people who are actual professionals, right? So you have us when we have littlebabybooNursery.com, on all of our videos, we're like, littlebabybooNursery.com, blah, blah, blah. We have like branding, right? We have just consistency across everything. And you have that too with all of the other caregivers. If you really kind of pay attention, they are building a brand and they want to be connected to that brand. If you have something like this where it's the ABDL community for all, none of their videos are of people saying that. I didn't see one at all. And that's nuts. 4, take a look at the spelling and grammar of what is being written on their social media, on their websites. I'm not saying that caregivers are like wordsmiths and actually we write everything perfectly. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm noticing is that professional caregivers and professional mommies are very, not to toot my own horn, but we're bright. And we know how to use like Google Docs. We know how to use these things. Going back to the whole branding thing, we have a brand that we're trying to get across and we want that to make sense to people, right? So if you're going back and forth with people and you're finding that their English is not so great, or their grammar is not so great. Again, I'm not saying that everyone's is going to be perfect at all, but you're going to get a little bit of a flag up, and that's just one of many, many things, that you're looking at. So I found that to be the case. 3, if they ask you for money outside of services. So if they suddenly start talking about how they're late on their phone bill, or they got a flat tire, or their car needs some extra work and they just can't pay for it or whatever, or if they're kidnapped or held against their will, legal fees, stuff like that. If it's outside of services, that is a huge red flag. We will never ask for money outside of services. We're professionals. It's like going to any sort of professional. You go to like a dentist. Is the dentist ever going to say to you, hey, my mortgage is a little behind. No, they're going to say, hey, you want your teeth cleaned? Here you go. This is what the services cost, yada, yada. That's it. A true professional will not go outside of basically like the terms of agreement. That's just really unfair for a professional to do, because you start doing emotional blackmail. And, that person that you're developing this relationship with, it's going to be difficult for them to say no. And there's that tie-in of the caregiver little relationship where that is unfair for a caregiver to request that of you. That is not good. That's actually a red flag. 2, this is a big one. If you never actually talk to them, they are unable to talk on the phone or in a Zoom call. That is a big red flag. That means the person who you think you're talking to is not the person that you're actually talking to, okay? So if they tell you that they don't have a camera, or that they're being held against their will or whatever, and that for some reason they can't video chat with you or talk to you on the phone, that is BS. That's a huge red flag. You need to go running. You need to talk about that with other people. No. If you are a professional caregiver, that is what you do, especially during like COVID and stuff. Virtually, this is what you do. You talk, you see your face, all of that stuff. Unless and the service is just texting, that's fine, because there's a fantasy involved, and that's fine because you're still getting services. The number one red flag that should be a huge warning sign that you are not talking to a professional mommy is if they contact you. We do not contact anyone to solicit services, ever. We may go onto different people's profiles and just click. If we think something's really cute, we'll click, oh my God, that's so cute. And we'll talk to people and stuff like that. But we're never going to be like, hey, do you want to schedule a session? No, I'll tell you why. Because we are constantly being contacted by littles in this community to request services. There's never a time where we're actually having to solicit for services, where we are going places and saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't happen. So here they are, babies. The top 10 warning signs that the caregiver you're speaking to might be a scammer. Soak it in. Heed my warning. If this video has helped you, please like, subscribe to our channel because we're going to be doing a lot more content, but I'm so excited about 2023. It's going to be fun. All right, babies, we'll see you later. Have a great Happy New Year.